apologize for the preceding technical difficulties.
I don't.
Sir Robert does not. Dwight does not. I do. I take it all on myself. If I'd been more responsible, then this never would have happened.
Say it like you mean it. Say it with Harry Curie.
Hello and welcome to the Starfall Collective, Season 2, King of the Cloudy Sea, a Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition adventure. I am Matthew Talamini, your Dungeon Master. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and you can find me at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, TALAMINI.com. With me are some of my college buddies in the same place. Sir Robert Burbridge, playing Weatherin, an Elven Paladin of Oberon.
Hi, I'm Sir Robert, and you should go to thefarce.net or else.
David Farrell is here, but you probably can't see him.
Just his hand.
There's a hand.
Dwight Canal playing Fennetir.
Nope.
Elven Cleric of Pond playing Trilo,
Yes.
an idiot.
Thanks.
Joshua Suich playing Malmer, an Elven Warlock of Chernabog. Say hi so people know who you are and tell them where they can find your stuff. Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh. You can find my stuff all over the internet at jsuich, S-U-I-C-H. That'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. And you can check out the Starfall Collective Reddit page and get in touch with us there.
And it's actually Josh playing Malmer, playing
Gorio.
Gorio. So,
This is true.
that's right.
Which hopefully will be almost as masterful as Helena Bonham Carter playing Emma Watson playing herself. We'll see. I don't, I
I
haven't.
wasn't there that day.
Okay.
You're confusing me, Josh. I'm not as highbrow as you.
There are people on the internet who will get that.
That's good. I'm
I have
glad that they'll be
eyebrows.
laughing. Sunrise, this far west of the cloudy sea, is preceded by one short hour of true night, when the light of the sun is eclipsed by the earth, and not only by the forest beneath the ship. This is a time of deep darkness, when the eerie green glow that illuminates most of the nighttime here fades. If you happened to be on watch on the deck of the Fujin when true night falls, by C.S. Friedman, you would see a line of orange form at the patchy end of the leafy green glow far to the west. This orange, the incandescent color of genuine sunset, sweeps east, eating up the green and leaving the black of night behind it. In a matter of minutes it passes the ship, and the darkness of the infinite spaces between the stars is as much below you as above. The sounds of the night birds increase in volume and change in a subtle way. A breeze rustles the many leaves and the sails flap. Then all goes quiet, except for the low thrum of the insects, which never ceases. A handful of your fellow crew members come up from below decks, carrying these suspicious large bundles. They toss them overboard, and you hear the bundles thunk off of branches as they drop through the forest of the cloudy sea and out the bottom of the world. You count 5 bodies overboard. You're not dumb. You can put 2 and 2 together. The Dark Elves had failed to deliver Enma the Silver Squid to Gorio. There were 5 of them. Now he has no more use for them. You're relieved. This shows that the captain himself never actually sold out to Karen, as some suspected. His willingness to slay the Dark Elves shows that perhaps he's not so bad. He has done what should be done to all worshippers of Karen, the evil spider goddess. He could never land the ship back at Three Ways with them aboard, after all. As it is, Gorio might spend the rest of his life in prison just for letting them aboard the ship in the first place. You're not sure what level of treason this might represent. But as a random sailor, just doing your job, this all seems pretty okay to you. Your crew boss, Kyoko, sends somebody to replace you soon after this, and you go below decks to sleep, leaving 2 of our player characters above decks, which is Weatherin and Malmer, who is magically impersonating Captain Goryo. Barkus, who is among you, says, "Will that be all, Captain? If you've a mind to clear the ship of mutineers, there is that other one who we talked about."
I feel like we're not getting you, Josh. Are you saying something?
Indeed, but he hasn't moved openly, and I don't want to spread a spirit of paranoia and suspicion over the ship. Best to quietly scare the ever-loving awful out of his guts and put him in his place.
The ship will be ready to sail after just a few more hours of work in the morning. Barkus asks if you would like to pause here for a little bit to cut some more trees for new boats. If you remember, three of the Fujin's 4 kraken hunting boats were destroyed in the battle with Enma, leaving only 1. Something the captain might choose to do is to hang out for a little while. This is one of the more dangerous areas. Not one of the more dangerous areas. It's maybe like 4th or 5th in danger to just hang out and stop and not do anything.
And where are we in the Cloudy Sea?
So right now, north of here is Nebulaster's Perch.
Okay.
East, you would see the depths. West is the Ragged Edge. South is Aarakocra Territory and Air Mountain.
Is that about right?
So you should be just east of the Ragged Edge.
Okay, over here.
Yeah.
So that's where we are.
I don't know what the Hollows is.
Were you going to put that on screen?
Yeah, it's on. It's on the stream.
Oh, it's on Twitch. Okay. All right. That's fair. Okay.
Is the hollow
Hmm.
people fell through?
Aye.
Nope.
Tis a matter of safety to not have emergency boats at the very least. I suppose so. We'll post guards, 2 men to guard for every man cutting. I don't want to be ambushed, waylaid, or surprised. We've got precious cargo aboard. Eyes will be upon us. Tell the men to have weapons on them, and men who aren't chopping to be brandishing, with men with crossbows and bows to cover them. See to it. And then Mal turns and disappears into his quarters because he wants to spend as little time on deck as possible, maintaining the mystique and giving as few opportunities to mess up and be seen through as possible.
This is actually very much like the original Goryo's behavior.
Exactly, a convenient MO.
Very good. So when the sun comes up in the morning, you find the Cloudy Sea still. You follow Captain Goryo's orders.
First thing in the morning, though, before the carpenters are needed to actually build the boats, he's going to grab one of the men who can work off the lock on the chest, and he's going to go to him and say, that he lost his key out in the whole Inma debacle, and he needs the man to open his chest.
Okay. This is going to be... the ship's carpenter.
Okay.
Most of the sailors wouldn't have the skill to do that, but the ship has a designated carpenter who is also the ship's cook. It's not a big enough vessel to merit both a cook and a carpenter, so good old Zambo fills both tasks. He's got a sort of long white beard, very skinny. One eye is sort of pointed the wrong direction. He's been out on the cloudy sea for a long time, this old elf. So yeah, you can, you're the captain. How do you approach him? Do you have someone to bring him to you? Do you go to him?
Yeah, I'll ask Watherin to bring him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi, Captain. I go find Zambo, you said?
Yeah. He's talking to some of the sailors, giving them hints and tips on what kind of trees they're going to want to get for the right kind of wood for the boats in the morning.
Zambo.
Yes!
The captain has need of you. He sent me for you.
Very well. Shall I need my toolbox?
Probably.
Aye. Grabs up his
Kit.
box of tools, gets his kit, and follows you back to the captain's quarters.
Yeah. And I'm returning with him, I'm assuming I should.
Aye, Captain. Ha! How are you this fine morning? What can I do for you?
Rested, thank you, lad. I need this here chest opened. In the course of events on the sea, I find myself without the key to it.
This is a lie. Roll deception.
Now, this is not a lie. In the course of events,
Okay.
I find myself without the key. I never said I lost it.
In that case,
Is this mere persuasion?
roll performance to pretend to be Goryo who lost his key.
Okay, sure. That's a 16, and let's see what my performance is. I apologize. I, for some reason, did not have my character sheet pulled up, but I will have it here in 5, 4, 3. Performance is a +5, so that's a 21.
Captain, I suppose we needn't worry about the silver squid coming and opening the Fujin's captain's chest. It's a little bit of an odd request. Someone such as me would never look within such a chest. Do you wish to stay in the room as I work?
Of course, lad. Of course. Get to.
Aye, Captain. And he bends down and gets out a chisel and his tools, pliers and things like this, and gets the lock off of the chest. Takes him, it's a very strong lock, it's well attached to the wood, and so a lot of fastenings involved. He has to do a little more cutting than he probably would have liked, and the wood is hard, and it's a really well built chest, so he's able to do it. Takes 15 or 20 minutes. The lid is up. He sort of turns it to you, or more like it's pretty big and resting all over, so he sort of like shoves it towards you and opens it a little bit to like demonstrate that it's open, and then he closes it. He says, that will that be all, Captain?
That'll be it. Thank you. Good work.
And Watherin, who's been wallflowering next to the door, opens the door, lets him go out, and then closes the door, remaining inside.
The Zambo goes back to his work. How perceptive is Zambo?
Not with that lazy eye.
Zambo notices nothing out of the ordinary.
Excellent.
Goes back to his stuff. He is quite busy. There are lots of repairs on the Fujin and the boats. This is his time to shine.
So, what's in the box?
What's in the chest? That's Watherin asking.
Goryo walks over and flips open the chest lid.
Here is what is in the chest. In the chest you find the ship's log,
Okay.
which is a leather-bound book. There is the key to the ship's safe in the chest, which would normally contain things like gold and gems for trade. important documents such as rites of passage or letters of marque, if you have such. I don't think you have a letter of marque, but there's a couple of changes of clothes folded up in there, and at the bottom there's a stack of letters, and there's another book that seems as though it's a diary.
Nice. Excellent. Mal begins changing into one of these changes of clothes of Goryo's so that he doesn't have to keep spoofing Goryo's clothes with his alter self. And hands, he says, forgive me, I'm going to keep up the voice so I don't absent-mindedly fail to use it later. Got to stay in character. I found these on the persons of the drow. It would be good to know exactly what their orders were and if there's anyone's going to be looking for them or waiting for them when we get back to port. You mind giving a glance at these? And he hands the papers to Waitering.
I can look at them. I should be able to understand the writing.
And then he starts looking through Goryo's diary while Waitering looks through the papers from the Dark Elves.
And Waitering is not very forcefully, but he has some reticence to just be completely candid in real time about the letters. So he's just aware that there might be some filtering he wants to do, but he's not like trying to lie or anything exactly. He just wants to kind of read through and digest a little first.
Okay.
The motivation there is that Waitering knows that Malmer and Goryo had some kind of kinship of goals or something. He's not exactly sure. He's just wary still.
The letters that you took from the slain drow are what you would expect to find on adventurers. There are maybe just like 4 or 5. There's no maps, but there are. What they are is letters to or from home, and it's clear that you don't recognize any of the locations that are mentioned, and a lot of the words are strange to you. When you learned this speech, you didn't get some of the vocabulary here, and they seem to be the names of animals or plants, or you're not sure exactly what, but they'll say, the something or other is beautiful today. You don't know what it is, but these are letters like that a friend or a brother or a husband at home would write to somebody who's gone away for a long time.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them are like that. They're addressed to 3 different individuals.
Okay.
They're just personal papers.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be any mention of this. In fact, there are mentions of jobs or missions or quests, but none of them. They're like doing guard duty for some city or escorting some caravan. None of them have to do with the Cloudy Sea. You don't see anything about that.
Okay. I guess that Waitering, skims through them appropriately, making sure he has a feel for them, and says to Malmer, sorry, I hear a slight echo. Will you check to see if we're hearing a double audio on? I've been hearing it for a little bit, but tell me if you hear double on us.
I was mostly just hearing it on your voice. But
Okay, it might be from where I am.
Not really.
Okay, great. I think it's just me hearing it, and then it's got a slight delay.
It could be the.
Cool. Sorry about that. Thanks. So Waitering says, these don't seem to be anything substantial. They're personal letters, and they don't, as far as I can tell, talk about anything important unless there's some kind of code or something. It all seems like the kinds of letters anybody would write. Some of the places or possibly things I don't recognize what they are. Maybe they're about hometowns or something, but I see no significance to any of these letters.
Fair enough.
Melmer, Gorio's diary is just as boring. It's it is the weather on a particular day. It is minor matters like had to repair my trousers.
Point of being a captain if you have to repair your trousers.
Things like promoted so and so to such and such position, punished so and so for such and such, like minor matters that a person might want to remember for the future that don't necessarily belong in the ship's log officially. Nothing that seems to bear on the interesting and terrible events, or you can't really imagine that he's committing his genuine inner life with all of the rage and passion and darkness in this character's heart. You don't see any of that in these pages. It's minutia. It's almost like fake. Almost like if you wanted to convince somebody you were a normal ship captain and this was your diary, what you would write down.
Waither mulls over the banality of evil. Yeah, I mean, if we continue having, Watherin would like to see if there's anything that looks, either encoded or magical or anything about them. He's not like suspicious of it, but they're odd. The way you're describing it is odd for the Gorio that Watherin knows, and for the Drow. I mean, Drow certainly write much more dire and evil things. Watherin's quite sure. So
They must.
they must. Otherwise, why would they be called Drow?
Kicked a puppy today. Felt good.
He deserved it.
Yeah.
Better yet,
maybe
he
some
didn't.
kind of, if there's some way I can examine that
Yes.
or pray or something.
You would be
as a
rolling
cleric.
investigate
Okay.
to see if there are coded messages. If you're looking for like ensorcelled or magical secrets in these objects, that'd be an Arcana check.
I'd like to do both, in case they're.
Go ahead and do both.
His thought is that there might be some sort of magical.
This is on the Dark Elves letters.
Yeah.
Okay.
His thought that there might be some sort of magical encryption or something, and also there might just be regular. So you said investigation. 9, and then Arcana. 19.
You don't find anything.
Okay.
There are no mundane secrets concealed here, as far as you can tell, nor magical.
Well, Captain, I looked as closely as I could, and I really just don't see anything about these.
Fair enough, lad. Fair enough. Appreciate the effort. Appreciate the eyes on it. While he's investigating the Drow letters, Gorio's going to read through the stack of letters that Gorio had.
These are juicy. This is where you hit some insight into the captain's character. These are letters which appear to be from an Aarakocra. There are references to Air Mountain, the bird people in the Cloudy Sea, and there's a handwriting thing. Aarakocra have differently shaped hands very slightly, and so they hold the quill a little different when they write, and so it just seems like
Pluck one out.
yeah, they just get one of their own. Why not? But they have different races writing in common.
Sure.
Sometimes you can tell just by looking that this handwriting is Aarakocra inflected common.
Just a bunch of chicken scratch.
Yeah, it's chicken scratch. That was a good one. Yeah, that would be a really racist thing to say. um, but this is these letters are full of endearments for Goryo. These are love letters. There seems to be an Aarakocra woman somewhere who had a long-standing, to judge by the dates, a years-long romantic relationship with Captain Goryo.
Gross. Does
And how old was the most recent of them? Sorry, just that's a quick, short question.
The most recent letter was a year ago.
Okay, and then Waither, what was yours?
I
Or
was
Sir
going to
Robert?
say, I was going to ask if this is a stack of letters. Is Watherin also helping to look through these? What basically at a mention of Air Mountain, Watherin's going to be immediately interested. Is he participating?
Mouse,
Or
I
did you
said that I
mention it,
was
or-
doing this while you were investigating the other ones, but as soon as I see something about Air Mountain, Mal is going to start handing them over to Watherin so that he can read them because he says,
Okay,
"You had an interest in going to Air Mountain, did you not?
I did.
These appear to be love correspondences with an Aarakocra. Might be of interest to you, lad." And so he
looks
starts
like-
handing them over to him.
And I was just rolling because I do that every so often. But looks like Watherin is waning in his distrust of Malmer, like because Malmer seems to be being
Cooperative.
and somewhat candid, and
Yeah.
so Watherin's like, he's kind of growing on.
Is there any mention on the Aarakocra's part of a intent to better Goryo or to change him, or does she seem to accept him for who he is?
I love everything about you. I love your malice.
There's nothing like that. She wants him. There are several letters that mention him leaving his life in 3 ways and coming to live with her in Air Mountain.
Interesting. Okay.
That's what she wants. And it seems that they are having sort of a long-running discussion that one imagines that many long-term affairs between married people must contain, of when is this going to become public, if ever, who's going to leave who.
My wife keeps asking me to publicly fess up to our marriage, so I get it. That was a joke. That was a...
Okay.
But he's married to the sea.
You get the sense that he's invested in his career, which is based in 3 ways, and he has a wife and family in 3 ways.
Oh.
Different woman.
Oh.
An elven woman,
Ah,
That two-timing dog.
which you would know, having left from 3 ways, or if you've been in 3 ways for very long. He has a house there and a family there. Most of the captains live in 3 ways and have
Professional
entire lives
captains.
there. Yeah, he's a professional sea captain, so he has a fancy house that he comes home to between voyages. The Aarakocra woman is a kind of researcher or quester. They go on expeditions into the Cloudy Sea and study the magic there on behalf of the Aarakocran religious / university intellectual.
Their academy.
Their version of a university or academy. She's something like a professor or an explorer, and
Indiana Jones.
she's in Indiana Jones. And the last letter, she is about to leave on another voyage.
Okay.
Um,
A year ago.
It was a year ago. It was a while before the Fujin set off.
So Watherin's, as they're, I guess, doing a little bit of talk about it, and also I should say, also to help Malmer not lose his immersion in the character, Watherin just continuously addresses Malmer as Goryo.
Mm-hmm.
He says Captain, he treats him that way.
That's fortunate because there's a knock at the door.
Mal clears up the diaries and papers and whatnot and puts them all.
Watherin puts everything down and retreats to the back wall.
Yeah, puts it in the trunk.
Non-
Says, "Get the door, lad." And
Captain.
Mal kind of is sitting there with the diary out, writing in it as somebody comes in.
Okay.
Watherin opens the door. And...
Mal doesn't look up.
Have you moved the chest?
Yeah. He moved the chest back over and put stuff into the chest, and then is writing at his desk.
Where are the letters?
Put away in the chest.
Which letters?
The love letters.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all of them. I put everything away except for the diary. That is
Okay.
Goryo's diary.
And cover the chest because it's missing a lock now.
Right. Yeah, Mal will put his old change of clothes so that the old change kind of hangs over the edge of the chest, over the lock.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me deception.
Okay.
This is a contested check versus your visitor's perception.
Helping with the deception.
Good luck.
Nope.
No, it's. I mean, well, how long are you going to leave this person waiting?
Oh, I mean, only a few seconds, only as long as it takes to put the
Okay.
stuff away. 24.
Okay. It's Barkus. He comes in, and he has some question. There are a couple of sailors that are feeling like hungover from all the extra grog you were passing out yesterday, and they're really not doing very well at the tree cutting, the lumberjacking, and he's asking if it's okay for two of the sailors to bunk down for a couple of hours.
Indeed, we've asked a lot of the men, and we did liquor them up ourselves. So I see no reason not to, but do it quietly. I don't want to go spreading the atmosphere of slackery.
Thank you, sir.
Trust your judgment. Run your men as you see them.
The vomit was not pretty.
Never is.
He goes to leave, and then as he's closing the door, and then he opens it a little bit, and he looks at Weatherin, and he looks at you, Goryo. And there's definitely a look in his eye. His look is somewhere between something like pity.
Directed either way or just between?
He's looking with a sort of pitying glance at who he thinks is Goryo. And he won't say what he wants to say because Weatherin is there.
And Watherin,
And then
Watherin was planning on this anyway before you said anything, but Watherin says, "Do you need anything else for me, Captain? Should I go help with the trees?"
No, that's it.
Aye, sir. And I was going to
you go
depart,
out past Barkus.
which was like a very mild deception that I was there under, doing something. I'm just telling you that's what the goal was.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, and I go out past Barkus, but for whatever it's worth, that was planned before I knew whatever.
That's fine.
So he goes.
Yeah. Goryo says, "Something on your mind, lad. You need to come inside and shut the door."
He doesn't shut the door. He just says very quietly to you, even if you'd killed it, it wouldn't have brought her back. And then he goes.
Whoa! Looks like Mal isn't the only one who's experienced a little bit of loss in the love department. I think Gorio may have had a legitimate look come across his face simply from the subconscious evocation of the memory of Ferraria. So probably would have played in.
It's not hard for you to fake this kind of heartbreak.
Yeah, and in fact, Mal, while he was looking through these letters, he found himself thinking about his own past, and just before Barkus knocked, he was about to say something to Watherin, so he's probably looking for an opportunity to have that conversation with Watherin at some point in the future. But anyway, all right.
You stay in your cabin studying maps, probably.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Mal has captained a ship before and everything, and he's trying to also get up to speed on the kinds of decisions that Goria is going to end up having to make.
Yeah.
So
you'll be poring over the ship's log.
Yeah.
And Watherin helps on deck with whatever there can be, but he still considers himself to be charged with guarding the levee. Like being watchful over it.
Yeah.
So he's like on deck, but he's always got his attention somewhere.
Good. Try love.
Uh-huh.
Roll me up athletics.
Incompetence check. Oh,
Incompetence check. I roll a natural 20.
By the way, you've all had a long. Actually, you know what? Trilo's had a long rest, and I think Weathering, you probably have had a short rest since yesterday. You were up a lot during.
But elves need 4 hours.
Oh well, then never. Yeah, you're fine then.
Okay.
See what I had to deal with?
You've all got long rests.
Dice say.
Yeah, that's a terrible die. Why don't you use?
I have like a billion right here.
I'm fine.
No, you're not. That's impossible to read.
It's a 16 plus 3, 19. I have others. I have.
His die is speckled with smaller numbers.
It's fractal. They go all the way down.
As all numbers do.
They're hairy like that.
I think it was a 19.
Okay. Yeah. So
Athletics, right?
you were cutting trees, like I'm a lumberjack. And it was fine.
Uh-huh. I was not one of the drunk ones.
There were a couple.
You're always kind of drunk.
No, that's the other one.
Okay.
Yes.
I was just an idiot.
Yeah, one of your shipmates
Almost killed me.
vomited all over himself.
Well, nice. Not on me.
Not on you, no. And had to be like attached to ropes. Like Barkus didn't put it this way to the captain because he doesn't want to get this person in more trouble. But they couldn't like even climb back up onto the ship. It was like put a line through this guy's belt loop and just hoist him back up on deck and into his bunk.
He has good pants.
Oh, the sailors.
Had to fix his.
Sailors all have pretty complicated rigging sewn into your clothing for this.
And it's
purpose.
lederhosen, so.
Nice.
Yeah, it's Elven lederhosen.
That's right.
It's all.
Mithrilhosen.
But it's good that you're paying attention, looking up.
Okay.
Because
Him or me?
Weathering,
Ah.
paying attention, because about 1 or 2 o'clock, mid-afternoon, there's a shout, and the elf who's on watch in the crow's nest says, "We got us some dragons. There's some dragons coming. All hands on deck, dragons. We got dragons."
Oh my. Okay. Mal comes charging out and says, "Get that levy down and stored."
Do I know how to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be an acrobatics check to do it quickly.
Let's give it a whirl. Let's see. 17.
So as you start climbing up the mast, to where these larger levy gems are stored. By the time you get up there, the dragons are sort of within range and they're circling around the Fujin.
Range meaning like crossbowish range or something.
Yeah, they're within
encounterable.
like 40 to 60 feet of the top of the crow's nest, just doing tight circles they're actually like 30 40 feet up, but doing like a 80 feet diameter circle sort of around the top of the ship, just sort of establishing their aerial presence. These are not fully grown dragons, but even a wormling or a small dragon can be a serious threat. You don't find the large dragons here in the Cloudy Sea. Once a dragon gets to be adult, full grown, the lack of enough land to really have a big... Dragons like to have big caves and lairs in mountains or swamps with big piles of treasure, and amassing that much weight of stuff in the Cloudy Sea is difficult. So you get some younger dragons here. These are black dragons, which are particularly nasty, but they're not strange. They are known to exist in the Cloudy Sea. Other kraken hunting vessels have encountered them.
And they're sentient.
Yeah.
Okay.
They speak common and their own crazy ancient language.
How many of them are there?
Two. Got 2 black dragons. One of them, as it's circling, yells down, "The Cloudy Sea is Karen's now." And the other one says, "Kraken hunters, attacks. You may hunt here, yes, but you must give us a levy gem." And they're circling and circling.
And more or less everybody can understand that, hear that?
They're speaking common.
Okay.
Yeah, to the sailors far away, it might sound like a hideous, scary roar, but you and the other sailor that's up there, you can clearly distinguish the words.
Would Gorio, who's now on deck, I'm trying to figure out who's hearing that happen. Is that something the crow's nest guy and I can hear or see? Or is it the whole people on the ship?
Gorio, you're a little bit far because they speak with a draconic accent, you're a little bit far and they're yelling really loud from really high up. Roll perception.
Okay.
Malmer, to see if you understand what they're saying.
And they're in some kind of, not them, the levy is in some kind of like net attached to a rope to the mast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm focused, I just scrambled up, did a kind of Mulan sort of go up the top. And am I...
You're currently on the mast. You're near the ropes where what you would do next is to start pulling in the ropes that have these levy gems on them. Get the gems and go down.
Which would be, I'm in a zero grav situation right now.
As soon
so
as
going down is climbing down.
Yeah,
like up,
you would not be able to drop down under your weight.
Right.
As soon as you had the levy gems in your possession. You could also untie the ropes and grab the ropes and drop down, go down faster without having to climb and pull them down after you.
Okay.
But you can do this however you want, but you've got something like 100 feet of rope with levy gems trailing around after the ship as the ship sort of tugs them along as it goes.
25, 30 feet in the air.
Yeah.
The levy gems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the mast is about that high.
Great. So Waitherin's gonna, while Gorio's rolling for that, Waitherin's going to start pulling them in and pulling the gems in, and at least say something like, "Sounds fair."
Yeah.
Yes, it is fair.
Gorio is going to step out onto the deck and climb up on top of the cabin, whatever part of the ship is most elevated and closest. Obviously not the crow's nest.
The ship has it's not a poop deck, it's a
Quarter deck.
There's a quarter deck on the back of the ship that has the captain's cabin is the floor of the quarterdeck is the ceiling of the captain's cabin.
Right.
And you can climb up on that. That's where like the captain or whoever's steering would steer from.
And you did a something check to what was it?
Yeah, did you do the perception check?
Perception.
14.
Yeah, you can understand what the dragons are saying.
Okay.
They are demanding a levy gem in exchange for being allowed by Karen to hunt in her cloudy sea. Your understanding is that the cloudy sea belongs to the elves.
Right. Yeah.
Shows how much Karen knows.
He gets up on the deck and he interesting. He's got the wand of holding in one hand and the fate blade in the other. And he actually no, just a harpoon. He just grabs a harpoon, not the fate blade. And he goes up and he says, "Do you have any idea who you're speaking to, worm? The king of the cloudy sea himself fled before me, and I'll not parley with the likes of you."
Waitering is very quickly trying to put levy gems in.
Roll athletics for that.
Am I on the ship or am I?
And
You are on deck. Trilo.
Oops. 13.
Okay, you're pulling it in. The dragons say, or one of the dragons says to you, Captain Gorio, yes, we've heard of you. Surely you will pay.
pay? Why would I pay when I see two servants who should be kneeling before me? And he uses his minor illusion to just ever so slightly make his voice boom, but not above the range of what might be humanly possible. He's just trying to
Add drama.
add drama.
Right.
I'll tell you what you'll do. You'll do some scouting for me, and I'll pay you when the work's done.
They say, okay, we're gonna take the levy. And one of them, this is the point where you need to roll initiative.
Okay.
Because one of them is about to dive for the levy. Hold on a second.
18.
14.
So rolling wisdom because I'm going to see. Trilo wants to help people with his bless,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gonna pick out the strongest heroes.
Okay.
And he got a 10 to figure out who's the strongest heroes.
It is not at all difficult to tell that the biggest, best warriors on this ship are Weatherin and Captain Gorio.
Okay.
And Barkus?
Barkus is pretty strong, but he's not as strong as you are. Second would be either of the... the other harpooner, Kalerk, would be another good option.
No, I'm just blessing them and me because I'm an idiot.
And Kalerk does take to the skies.
So y'all got plus a D4 on your attack and saving throws.
Okay. And I had a... Did you write mine? I had a 14.
Mm-hmm. What is Malmer's?
5.
5. Very good. Awesome. Well, Trilo, it's your turn.
Ooh.
There's some dragons circling.
I guess I'll hit him with a ray of frost. It's a
It's a bold move.
what did I do? I roll a 20 and it's plus 2. Okay. 4.
4 versus their... Their
armor.
AC?
Yeah, their AC.
That misses.
Okay.
The sailors around you look at you like, I didn't know he could do that.
I can do all sorts of things terribly.
Weathering.
Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm looking at this.
Wait, no, it's not gonna hit. I forgot to roll my +4.
It's not going to hit, even with +4.
8. It doubled.
Definitely not going to hit.
I am. Weathering is trying to pull these things in. I don't know how much I've done so far,
Mhm.
but I have a command spell that has only a verbal component. Will you tell me the mechanics? Can I do that as I'm trying to pull these in? Or?
Your action will be
That's right.
pulling
action.
in the rope. If you have something that doesn't take an action, something that takes a bonus action, then you could do that as well as pulling in the rope this turn. But if you want to do something
Got it.
like cast a spell, you're going to have to stop pulling in the rope and do that instead.
Okay. I will cast the spell.
Okay.
Stop where I am for a few seconds, and I'm going to cast command, which means that the dragon has to roll a wisdom savings against a 13.
Okay.
At least I think that's how this works. It says Wiz 13.
Mm-hmm.
And
What happens when it passes?
I don't think anything. Let's see. Yeah, okay. It doesn't. It just says the spell has no effect. Oh no, if the target's undead, if it doesn't understand your language, or
Sometimes it says like
like it gets confused, or I get whatever.
well, sometimes it's like half damage if they succeed at the saving throw.
Okay, it just says they must succeed on the wisdom saving throw or follow the command.
Okay, they succeed on the wisdom saving throw. So you shout a command at
It
this
said,
dragon.
flee!
And the dragon's like, no. And the sailor who was on the crow's nest has seen what you're doing and noticed that you had stopped, and she starts pulling in the rope as well.
Okay.
Barkus comes barreling up from below decks and jumps onto the deck of the Fujin and says, "We're under attack, sailors! Your crossbows!" And there are some sailors who are still down in the cloudy sea, sort of harnessed into trees, like for the lumberjacking stuff, and they start coming and clambering up the side of the Fujin.
Goryo specifically gave orders that the men who were to be covering the guys cutting wood would be armed with bows and crossbows. So there should
They
already
have
be.
those, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're sort of at the level of the cloudy sea.
Sure.
Canopy, so they're trying to get back up on board the ship. Right
Sure.
now.
Sure.
One of the black dragons comes down at you, Weatherin, to who are one of the closest targets, and tries to do a flyby bite at you.
Okay. I'm going to say that Watherin is not using his shield. I had it equipped, so I'm just to be realistic here. Okay, because he would have maybe had it on his back or something as he's trying to get the levy in.
So this dragon flies up to you and snaps at you with his teeth, but misses.
Okay.
And then continues on past you. You can make an attack of opportunity.
Great. I will do that. And I saw that somewhere here. Reaction. Opportunity attack. Okay, great. It doesn't tell me. So I have to go, just to attack and use my...
Just a regular attack.
Yeah. Which would be this. And I have a +1, plus bless, basically. So I'm looking at 25.
That definitely hits.
Okay. Let's see. 8. Where's my... nope, that's not it.
Or Oberon, have mercy on us.
And I think I actually have... Give me 1 second. I have this weird little paladin-y thing that might be passive. Sorry, one sec.
You've got channel. You've got. I think you've got like what Divine Smite or something like that you can channel into your weapon attack.
Yeah, if I hit with a melee weapon, which this is,
Yeah.
Yep.
You can expend.
Yeah, here you go. You can expend a spell slot to do an extra 2d8 radiant damage.
Yeah.
Okay, so great. That works for me. And
Okay, yeah, Divine Smite it.
so I'm going to do it with a second level, which gives me 3d8 plus my d8.
Okay.
Plus four, no, that's on the 2 hit, not the.
Okay, on
Right,
two.
that's not on
So
the
I've got 4d8.
Plus whatever your strength bonus is.
How does strength bonus work? Just plus one.
It figures that into
Oh, okay.
what it shows you.
So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 damage.
Nice.
So you smite this dragon on its scaly back. You have like a long sword, right?
Yeah.
You got it like in 2 hands.
And all the extra damage was radiant
It's radiant damage.
So
Yeah. So
bright
your
shining light
sword
with
is
the
like
black dragon.
glowing, and it just hits this dragon. And
I stab it in and let it fly through the blade.
Oh, nice! Yeah, you and it flies on, and the you can see the scales sort of curling in the radiant heat as it tries to twist to like get off of the blade, and as it does that, it goes off course a little bit and hits some of the rigging, and yeah, it tries to get free of the rigging, but it gets a little bit tangled up, and sort of the whole ship actually sort of pulls to the side, because this is like, the size of 4 horses or something. Right. It's a pretty big animal, suddenly thrown against the rope. It's going to take a little damage from, yeah, and then it actually like falls for a little bit. But as
like tangling through the
rigging. Like going through the rigging, the ropes, like it's, and so the ship is just going kind of crazy and wonky, sideways a little bit in the trees. Some of the sailors are like clinging for dear lives to the side. The dragon eventually rights itself. It doesn't land on the deck or anything like that, but it rights itself and flies back into the sky and shouts, "They're strong! They're strong!" The other one takes a bite at a random sailor on the deck. It does tries to do a similar flyby thing. It misses too, and it actually like a bunch of there are probably like 3 or 4 sailors who are already ready with their bows and their crossbows, who shoot at it.
And Waithrin calls out, "They're weak!"
One of the sailors hits and does a couple of damage to it. So that one gets an arrow in it, and okay.
Dave, there's some drinks in there if you want, in that fridge.
And Kalurk is flying around, and Kalurk takes a shot at it as well. And no, that's not what Kalurk is. Kalurk's rolling.
Have that D4.
No.
Kalurk doesn't have it.
Oh.
Trilo gave it to himself.
Malmer, your turn.
Gorio points the wand at the one that attacked first, which he perceives to be the leader. Right? Is one of them clearly bigger?
Yeah, the one that attacked first is just a little.
Okay,
just
yeah.
a hair bigger.
Okay.
Waithrin.
And he points it at the larger one and yells, "To the depths with your worm!" and puts a hex on it so that it's at disadvantage on its wisdom saving throw. And it needs to make a DC 17 disadvantaged wisdom saving throw or be paralyzed.
Okay. This is the wand.
Yes. Yes.
The wand of holding.
Yes. Indeed it is.
This isn't great for a flying creature.
It's not great for a flying creature.
In fact, it's quite bad. catastrophic. Hopefully.
Yeah, it definitely fails that.
Woohoo!
And it did. You did it to the one that Watherin wounded, or the one that
The one that Watherin
low.
wounded.
It was the one that Watherin wounded.
Yeah.
The one that had just been sort of tangled in the rigging and had just gotten up and away from the ship a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
And yelled, "They're strong."
and yelled, "They're strong!"
Yeah.
And then got hit by. Can you read me the spell text of
Yeah.
what the holding does?
Yep. Target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be paralyzed for the duration, which is 1 minute. And paralyzed means it is incapacitated, meaning it cannot take actions or reactions. It cannot move or speak. Creature automatically fails strength and dexterity saving throws. Attacks against the creature have advantage. And you're critical if you attack within 5 feet of it.
All right. Cool. So it is currently falling.
Yeah.
is it over the ship or is it over the open cloudy sea?
It is over the cloudy sea.
Yeah.
Trilo.
Milo looks around and realizes he has a giant crossbow in his hands. And so he decides to shoot that instead of using terrible spells that he's bad at.
Which one are you shooting at?
The one that is not falling.
Okay.
He's like, that one's probably good.
This one is sort of hovering above the deck, where it just tried to get somebody and came back up.
Nice. 19, I think 20, 22. Where is that? I'm used to seeing all this on one page. No. 24.
That is a hit.
He's a little better at that.
Palpable hit with the crossbow.
8 plus 3. Which one is 8? It's the ones with the 8s on them. Nice!
Whoa.
11 damage.
Wow. Good grief. Weathering,
And that is it.
Yeah.
your turn. You're still up on the mast.
Okay. Real quickly, in
Yeah.
10ish minutes real time, I'm just gonna say bye to Johanna because she's leaving for work.
Cool.
Whatever. Okay. I'm still up on the mast. Is the other sailor is helping get the levy?
Yeah.
And the other dragon is not near me.
It's gonna be forward of you, not port, not aft, but
Starboard.
no, not aft, but
Forward.
It's gonna be forward of you. Forward of you. I was absolutely correct.
Whether it is somewhat forward.
It is. It's maybe 20 feet forward of you. Actually, it's hovering just about at your level.
Okay. I was wondering if it was meleeable range.
It's not melee range.
Okay. Then
Unless you can't leap onto it from there.
even though there's 0 grav.
Actually, you are in
The levee
the
field.
big levee field is close enough to you that you can. The sailor has pulled it close enough. You're in the field. If you were to,
Thrust off the.
say, for instance, take a bonus action to grab onto that rope, and then you could use movement to thrust off, to push off from the mast. You could get to the dragon.
Interesting. Hey, let me ask a mechanical question then.
Mhm.
If I were on the dragon's back or something, I guess that's maybe like the dragon being prone or something. Do I have an advantage in attacking? Basically, okay. Then I'm not going to do anything about that. If I
Yeah.
did, maybe I would. But I think I'm going to prioritize. It looks like they're in hand with one incapacitated and the other wounded somewhat. I'm going to prioritize getting the levy down
Okay.
with my action this time.
Okay.
Can he use his move action to do that and hold the rest of it?
What holding your action would mean, when I see this, I'm going to use my reaction to do such and such.
Okay.
So yeah, you could do that as you make your move action to
Okay, then I
pull the
will.
levy down with you.
What I'd like to hold then is a attack on the black dragon if I see it get within range.
Okay.
Even
it
flying
come-
by, but if it comes at me
if
or
it
the
comes-
levy or the
All right.
other sailor.
Yeah, so you've got the levee and you've got to climb down the mast. But with how much move do you have? This is sort of difficult-ish
30-foot
terrain.
walking speed.
Yeah, so you can get almost all the way down the mast. You'll at the end of this turn you will be very close to the deck.
Okay, that's. My goal is to get the levee somewhere ungrabbable, like into the hold.
Right into the hold or something. Yeah, the dragon won't fit into the hatch.
Great.
In the hold. At least it won't be able to fly if it goes in there.
And I'm aware that there's some chaos that it'll bring on the ship to have the levee there, but what can I do?
Yeah, and there's already. If you bring it into the hold, it won't make any difference.
Oh, because there's already levee.
Anti-grav already.
Yeah, okay, great.
But yeah, on the deck, the ship would almost be at a standstill without being able to stand on the deck.
Yeah, right.
Good. It is Barkis's turn, and he grabs up a crossbow and shoots at this dragon, and misses. And the dragon that Malmer shot with the holding spell is just plummets, and it knocks into the canopy and just makes a big hole in it and falls.
Yeah, because it says it automatically fails strength and dexterity saving throws.
Yeah.
So that means that it can't do anything but plummet through the canopy.
It's a rock.
It can't move or do anything. It can't grab onto the
For
branches
a minute. Oh my
in
gosh.
the next minute.
And it weighs like 3 tons.
But it can fly, so as soon as it stops.
In a minute, yeah.
Yeah, but after a minute it can fly.
Right.
Yeah.
After a minute, it'll be able
But a
to fly
minute
again.
of falling is a long
That's a long way.
There's nothing down there.
Fair.
He's already hit everything he can hit.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oofta doofta.
Up in space.
Well, I guess he'll take damage
That's the
though.
goal.
He's got to take damage from three layers of. Or is that how? Do you take damage from 3 layers, or if you just go straight through, do you just take one walloping?
It depends on how many times you hit the trees. I roll a d4 to see how far you fall each time.
Gotcha.
But in this case, I said it hits it 3 times.
Right.
And it took damage from all 3 of those.
Right.
Yeah, so it is out of your view. It is underneath of the cloudy sea now, and as far as you can tell, probably continuing to fall. There's a hole in the forest canopy that it fell through.
Right.
The other dragon turns and flies straight up. Just
How far does it make it?
As far as it can. Or something like that.
Not just straight up, but like up and away.
yeah, like up and away.
Yeah.
Like it's fleeing.
It seems to be fleeing. It points itself up and just goes for its whole turn.
Okay.
Wagering. Well, it's not my turn yet, I guess. We're still in initiative, I guess.
Yeah. Kalurk flies up after it a little ways, but he stops at about the level of the mast and shoots at it. Hits it. Nice. And Malmer, your turn.
Yeah, Mal does the same thing.
Let me
He.
see. Wait, hold on. I can tell you exactly how far away from you it is.
Okay.
It is 90 feet above the surface of the above the deck.
Okay.
And you're on the quarter deck, so maybe 10 feet or something.
Yeah. So it's it's 80 feet away from you.
Okay. The range on the spell is 90 feet. And yeah, so he's gonna hex the thing, and
Is hexing a bonus action?
yes, it is, and the range is also 90 feet. And then he'll use the wand.
What's the spell save DC?
17 disadvantage.
And it's wisdom.
Yes.
Disadvantage, that's brutal.
Pretty brutal. Yeah, you hit this one too.
Nice.
It is paralyzed 90 feet above the Fujin.
Oh, not so good.
But it's not. You said that it flew away as well. Not just straight up, but like.
No, I mean I said straight up.
Sorry. And then I asked you specifically, does it literally go up in a straight line or is it up and away?
Oh, you meant okay. Sorry. I thought you meant like, is it fleeing away? Um,
I'm sorry. Does it both go up and at least 10, 20 feet over, or is it just shooting up in a straight line?
I was trying to tell you that it went straight up, but
Keep it. Whatever. Let's see what happens.
but we can roll to see if it did that.
Okay. I'm fine with it being up to fate. Like,
If it rolls 10 or less, then it didn't go away.
it went straight up. Okay, so we're looking
10
for
or less.
Straight up.
11 or better,
It'll
baby.
be falling towards the Fujin.
Yeah.
11 or more, and it's falling off somewhere
Yeah.
off the Fujin.
Yep. 12.
Woohoo!
So it did actually go maybe 10 feet to the north or something as it flew up.
Okay.
And so the same thing happens to it. This wand. What does I guess I should tell you this because I made up this magic item. So like there's
It's
sort of this,
wand of binding is an item in the
right.
in the core
Yeah.
rules. But go ahead.
So it's like imagine like heat waves. It looks almost like a thin line of heat waves that leaves this wand. It sort of distorts the area around it invisibly, and when it hits the dragon, you can see the muscles all just lock in place.
Nice.
And the dragon, like the last of its momentum, carries it just 5 or 10 feet higher in a little arc, and then it comes to a stop, and then it starts to fall, and it just
Before you
picks
say
up speed.
great, Watherin, who is very close to the deck,
Mm-hmm.
seeing the dragon fall, is interested in slaughtering a dragon, a
Okay.
terrible evil dragon, and is willing to try to move the levee to make the dragon. I don't know if that's how it works. Momentum carries through or not.
Yeah, momentum does carry
Okay.
through.
Then Watherin's not
The
even
force
gonna
of
try.
gravity is canceled out by the levee, but any momentum that you have when
Got
you
it.
enter the field is preserved.
Okay, in that case, that Watherin's not going to try.
There are different things you could do
Where
to
does
try and
gravity
stop
come
this dragon, but if you want to suggest them.
Watherin just wants something made of dragon scale.
Ah.
You want to take a break here?
Yeah,
right?
so just let me narrate one more thing. It's going to hit it really hard.
Do you want to make a check to see if its body breaks on the branches? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to. It's up to you.
There's a rule for how much damage you take when you fall from a certain height. It's falling from 90 feet.
Oof, oof, oof.
Roll more than one if you want.
Yeah, so when this dragon hits the trees, you can see it lands on its back on a sturdy branch, and the dragon's spine just breaks. And the neck and one set of legs just go off one side, and the other set of legs and the tail go down the other side, so that the dragon is just wrapped around this big branch. And that tree, that tree moves down like 15 feet with the force, and you can hear an echoing cracking of branches throughout the area of the cloudy sea around you, and it makes a sort of small crater. But the tree itself does not come loose from the trees around it, but neither does it sort of spring back up to the level it was at before. So what you've got is a broken, ragdolled dragon sitting on one of these levee trees at the bottom of a 15-foot deep crater, just like 10 feet north of where the Fujin currently sits. And that is where we are going to go for our 10-minute break. We will be back at 9:02 to continue the rest of this episode. Welcome back to the Starfall Collective. King of the Cloudy Sea. We have just seen the brutal destruction of 2 dragons, apparently sent as something like a cross between bandits and tax collectors, for a territory that seems to have some sort of claim made by Karen, the dark goddess of the Drow. That ships passing through here should pay some sort of fee or tax. The Fujin was not having that, and the wand left behind by Captain Goryo made short work of them, in addition to good work by some of the other players as well.
In the hands of one Malmer Mayala, capable of hexing the ever-loving crap out of them.
That is true. They were under a hex. They might have been able to dodge if they had not been so thoroughly warlocked.
That's right. But Malmer's laxative hex just...
So Goryo points down at the dragon whose back is broken. He says, "It's a valuable body there. Bring the carcass aboard and let's get under sail."
And Waitherin's going to keep his priority as the levy. Depending on what happens later, he's interested in getting some of the, covering a shield or something cool like that. But he's going to prioritize the levy because he can't just...
Yeah. You won't have... you will have the resources for making, like, very crude things out of the carcass here on board the ship. But it's not until you get to some sort of city that you would be able to actually craft items.
If there's enough that it's part of the spoils, that we can pull the scales off, and then each sailor gets 11. I don't know, however that would work.
As a harpooner, so technically that would be part of the haul of the voyage.
That works for me.
So the sailors are, but certainly you could, there are always various arrangements.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, the captain would have the authority to pay you a little bit early. He could pay you part of your lay early during the voyage, and really what it would be is he could lend you some money against the lay that he knows he's going to pay you when you get back to port, and then that could be in the form of whatever it is.
So let's just say that Watherin has at some point expresses some kind of interest in that kind of thing.
Okay, so
do you still want to bring the levy into the ship? Because before we were keeping it away so that people didn't steal it.
I'm so close to the hold, I'm just going to stick it in the hold and then ask Goryo what to do.
I think Goryo would come and...
It may have attracted attention.
Goryo would come and take the key and put all of the levy in the safe for now, while there's a lot of confusion and running around.
Okay.
So.
This has the effect of making it so that more of the ship is under anti-grav than normally would be. The reason that you were flying them up there is that they are much larger than the Kraken-size gems that the ship is designed to carry.
I'm hoping that this will make a area where it's easy to bring a large carcass aboard and deal with it.
It just so happens, you already have levy on board. Even without these extremely large gems, you would have enough levy aboard to do that kind of thing. It's not that sort of thing for a vessel like this would be like using your super fancy Rolls Royce to tow a jet ski.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right.
Like you're getting out your precious, extraordinary, valuable levy in order to make something a little bit lighter so that you can pull it up on deck, when you could just call over 5 more sailors to haul it over the side.
Well, I'm just saying, I want it in the actual safe so that it's safe while there's confusion.
Cool. Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. You put it in the safe, lock the safe.
Of course, it's easier to steal the safe because it's...
The safe is very firmly attached to the rest of the ship.
Stapled to 8 sailors.
So, do you hang out and do some butchering of the dragon to just get the valuable parts, or are you just gonna like tow it behind you, this big carcass, or
Once it's in the safe,
once the levy's in the safe?
the levy, yeah. Once the levy's in the safe, I express to Waither and expresses to Gorio. Gorio, I'm interested in some of the scales. If we should skin the dragon, I have no idea if dragon meat is good eating, but the skin and scales are of interest to me, as I'm sure to all the other sailors. I'd like to preserve them if possible.
You landed first blow. It's fine by me, as long as it doesn't get in the way of making our extra vessels. Yeah, so is it going to take up the whole deck or something, or is there a place where they can store it? Okay.
So there is some experience, mostly legendary, but there are definitely sailors aboard who think they know what the best thing to do with the dragon carcass is. None of them have done it before, but there are some saying, oh, you've got to get the wing bones; those are important. You got to get the talons; those fetch a high price in such and such market. You know, the bigger the scales, the more valuable. The smaller scales, you could get scales like that off of a basilisk or something smaller, and like stuff like this. None of them have ever done it.
Sure.
This is largely theoretical, but they do have an idea aboard about how to render this carcass into its most like usable,
storable.
valuable, storable parts. It's going to take the rest of the day to do that work.
It's up to Gorio.
I think Gorio would say, "Bring the wood aboard. We can work on that as we travel. We need to deal with the body of the dragon before it goes septic. If we're gonna feast on dragon meat tonight,
Oh no!
And
No, the elves do not eat dragon meat, and certainly not the meat of a black dragon. Nobody would.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Yep.
Black dragons. And in fact, everybody has got like bandanas over their noses and like nose plugs and stuff in because black dragons smell awful.
Like a skunk.
They smell like putrefaction and rot.
Okay.
They're not rotten. They're not like zombies or anything. Just they dwell in the nastiest places. They never bathe. They love to have corpses all around them. They're creatures of the fen and the swamp. They love that sick, disgusting environment. And this one is no exception. It stinks to high heaven. So you're also going to be like any scales that you get off of it. You're going to be cleaning them.
Sure.
All this stuff, like you're going to be like elves are pretty aesthetically sensitive, and so there's a whole process. There's lye, there's like soap, there's big tubs that things are getting washed in, and it's but yeah, you can't sail at full speed because so many of the sailors will be engaged in this carcass dealing with process, but you can go at a slower speed and make progress.
That's fair.
You're going south?
I think we're headed towards three ways, right?
3 ways.
Weatherin would have something to say about that and an agreement that you made with him.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Our urgent priority is Air Mountain. Sorry, I'm bringing up the map for people listening so we can...
And we're closer to Air Mountain, right?
We are quite a bit closer to Air Mountain.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think Gorio says, we've got some goods to offload and some business to attend to at Air Mountain. We'll take care of that, and then we'll make for 3 ways. Set course.
Sorry, would Air Mountain have a port or like some kind of town, port town or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big city.
Okay.
Kraken hunting vessels dock there and trade.
Okay.
Frequently, there's a marketplace. There's a favorite bar for the sailors. In fact, most sailors don't go too deep into the city. They like to stay pretty close to the ship.
Okay.
It's elves and Aarakocra, very different cultures. It's sort of foreign.
Okay. To get around because it's designed for flying creatures.
That's true. There's that as well. Most of the homes are nest-like in construction, and you can't just walk there. So.
Is there like any
Sure.
kind of mercenary class among the Aarakocra that you could hire if you had enough money?
Oh yeah,
Clerk.
Nice, because
Kalurk is 'cause
Ideas.
Kalurk is doing work away from the Aarakocra for his harpooneering ability.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. And speaking of Aarakocra, actually I need to do a roll or two. Yeah. Okay. So, there comes a time as you're butchering this carcass that a couple of sailors like touch their arms and they're like, "Ow, what was that?" And you look around and there's a little spits of corrosion like on the deck. And if you look up, you see that just a speck high above you, like hundreds of feet up, a black speck. But it doesn't come any closer. And some of you have really minor acid burns. But it looks like the other dragon survived. It can't get... If it comes close enough to you to do like a full acid attack, then you'd be able to shoot at it.
Right.
It might not be in good enough shape to want to risk that, but it is trying to
urinate all over the deck or whatever.
Yeah, it's spraying acid from way up. 200.
My crossbow says 150/600.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you have to roll with disadvantage to get that longer speed.
Nice. I'll shoot at it.
I also have a crossbow that says... Oh, no, it does not say that range. Mine is 30/120.
Oh,
So you've
mine
got
is not a
some kind of-
crossbow. It's a longbow.
Okay.
Yeah, so your longbow is capable of shooting far enough. I mean, this is a... Who's the guy that shot the apple off the kid's head?
William Tell.
This is a William Tell shot to try and shoot the dragon from this distance.
Oh, wait, no. You just do two. You don't have to
Yeah.
pick one. 15 plus 1. Plus 5.
Oh,
So 21.
a 21 hits, yeah. You do some damage.
Right in the eye.
Right in the eye. Ah, 4 damage.
You hear a very distant shriek, and the black speck grows even smaller and disappears. And your shipmates are like, "Good shooting." This guy acts like he... I don't know what to think about this fellow. Sometimes he's a total spaz, and sometimes he just pulls out a shot like that. I'm going to be telling my grandkids about that archery.
I was just clearing my stuff.
Yeah, no worries.
So you are sitting there for a little while as you butcher this dragon, sort of going pretty slow. Tell me how, Captain Gorio, tell me how you are disposing. There are 3 crews. You can run the ship with just one crew. Usually it's one crew doing random chores, one crew resting, one crew running the ship. So right now, do you have the one crew resting, one crew running sailing the ship, and one crew dealing with this dragon?
Yeah.
Or do you have the crew that would normally be resting? Are they dealing with the dragon now?
No, I don't want to run the men down. We're not in an emergency situation. So the ship is getting untidy. The poop deck is poopy and not swabbed like usual. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so you're doing this like a chore, and you're not sailing the ship especially fast, and you're not taxing the sailors too much.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All of you roll me perception.
Mm,
16.
15.
21. Trilo, you are
Trials MVP.
you're currently washing some of the scales from the dragon's back, some of the larger scales. You've got leather gloves on, and you've got like a tub full of caustic solution, like the elven equivalent of bleach. Something you would also use to scrub the decks, get blood off of clothes, things like this.
New Belelvin with stain removing power.
And you hear a groan from the backside of the ship, from the aft. And you...
Quarterdeck.
Yeah, well, it's sort of in the shadow of the quarterdeck. And you see, out of the corner of your eye, there's something that's like green and hairy, maybe?
Okay.
Just for an instant, and then it's gone, and one of the sailors is kneeling on the deck and bleeding profusely.
Which
From-
direction was the green and hairy disappear into?
It's you don't
Like
see
it
where it went or anything.
Flew away, or it
Near
disappeared
that
into
is the
the-
bleedy thing. The bleedy
Just-
sailor.
Just as you look over, and as you're looking for an instant near where the bleeding sailor is, you see you just have, it's like one frame in the horror movie.
Gotcha.
A single frame of, so you can't really tell where it is or where it went. You just see this sort of green flash that's like creepy and hairy, and then it's gone, and the sailor is just there coughing, moaning, and bleeding terribly.
Okay. Well, I cast Cure Wounds on him.
You run over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a 1d8 minus 2. So 4.
Cool. By the time you run to his side, the sailor has collapsed unconscious, but
Does he have 0 hit points?
yeah.
I can touch him and he stabilizes. Spare
Yep.
spare the dying.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
the 4
this is definitely a situation where you need to use spare the dying.
got it.
So you do that, and he coughs a couple times and opens his eyes. Says, "Oh, what happened? I was just tying the." He says the name of a rope that you understand. He's doing it like just a sailing task. He had to move one of the sails to pull this one rope and tie it off on a cleat on this part of the deck, and suddenly there were just these big knives sticking out of his back into his stomach,
Well,
and then they were gone, and he just fell forward and lost consciousness. And the next thing he knew, he was looking up at Trilo. Healing him with magic.
Father?
Father?
No, it's me.
I'm Trilo.
I'm not your dad.
Feeling better. Hey guys, there's some sort of green hairy thing.
Who do you?
Just to the people around me.
The sailors around you are like, I'm sorry, a green hairy thing?
So real quickly, would Watherin have? I just don't. This is something I don't know.
Trilo's in your crew.
But this is something I don't know if Watherin would know. Would he suspect that it's the Clowberman
No.
by the description or anything, or the violence? Okay, great. I was just checking. I didn't know what he would know. Okay. Watherin comes over and is like, "What's going on?"
I saw a green hairy thing, and then this guy was dead almost, but I brought him back.
Great. That's weird.
He said he was stabbed from behind.
Where'd you see the green hairy thing?
Just glimpsed it as I turned around.
How's the guy?
He's got 4 hit points.
Oh, he doesn't even four is more than his max hit points. So
Okay. Just checking.
he's good.
I was gonna heal him if he needed more.
He's weakened.
Okay.
But he's actually four might not be more than their max hit points. These are not just peasants; they're a little stronger than that. So he was a little dinged up still, but Trilo's spell mostly healed him. He tells you the same story. He was doing his job, and suddenly, he noticed these Freddy Krueger knives sticking out of him, and then fell forward and blacked out.
I'm gonna get. Sorry, Watherin somewhat presumptuously was considering himself to be informally overseeing the taxidermy-ishness, the what do you call it? The dressing of
Sure.
the dragon. So
Yeah,
I just
he was in your crew. The reason why he was washing this is
right.
yeah.
So how many people are in that crew?
Like 4 others.
Okay, what 4 others besides Twilo?
Yeah.
Okay, I say, Twilo, why don't you go back to washing your whatever,
Gotcha, boss.
and then I'd say to 2 other people for the dragon, who are working on the dragon, you do your stuff, and Chuckles and Monkey Boy or whatever their names are.
Ultimately, Sarah is your boss,
Uh-huh.
and then Sarah would report to Goryeo.
Got it. Okay, so I call 2 of them over, which leaves 3 there and 2 with me, or whatever, and I tell them quickly. I'm going to tell Sarah about this, but I want you guys right now look around for any creature that it should not be here. Go together because it's clearly very dangerous.
Hi, Captain. This is weird.
Is Goryo is trying to be
sorry, he
on.
doesn't say Captain. He says, "I, sir. This is weird."
And while they're teaming up and looking, I also would like to go look. But the first thing I'm going to do is actually go. Well, if Sarah's around, if she's easy to tell, I'll tell her. But I would really go straight towards Goryo and let her know what's going on.
You meet her on the way to Goryeo.
Great. Give her a quick rundown and ask her and tell her, would you like me to go tell Captain Goryo, or should I go help them search?
You go and tell the sailors to search. I'll go tell Goryeo.
Okay.
We need you in. You do have some healing.
I do have
magic?
some.
Yes. So in case this happens again, we need you on deck and ready.
Okay.
Keep your eyes peeled.
And so then Watherin's going to go get people who can get off of their current duty without imperiling stuff, and try to get people searching all over, and tell them if anybody's wounded or anything, immediately come tell me, and I'll be overseeing that.
Aye, they say. And Sarah knocks on your door, Gordon.
Yep. Yeah. Come in.
Captain, one of the sailors, appears to have been an attempted murder. One of the sailors was stabbed with some enormous knives through the back. The idiot Trilo was nearby and managed to save him, and said that there was some sort of monster that he only saw for a second. I suspect supernatural problems aboard this ship.
Indeed.
Weatherin is taking charge right now and leading a search party, and he's also on hand to heal anybody if there are any further attacks. I wanted to know what your orders were.
All men should do their work in pairs. One man should be watching, the other should be working. I'll go speak to Trilo myself.
That will slow down the ship considerably. So should we abandon the dragon work and...
Or wake the other crew?
Yes, we could wake the sleepers.
Certainly. Seems to be a good time to get all hands on deck. I'd like to finish the dragon work as quickly as possible, get it off the board, get it off the boat, and get the distraction away. But it is a valuable
Then we'll
beast.
stop here while we do that.
Let us finish the work double time so we can be done with it and focus our attention on the matter at hand. In the meantime, where's Trilo? And he grabs his wand and his adopted spear glaive from Mal and goes and finds Trilo.
Watherin would like, just a quick cut, Watherin would like to lay eyes on, kind of check in on the weird goateed guy.
Aku.
Aku.
Yeah, the one who tried to sell you on mutiny.
Yeah. He just, Watherin's aware of that, and that guy always seemed a little fishy.
Okay.
So, he just wants to go
Just a
see
fish person.
if he's findable or if there's
He's-
anything weird going on.
He's below decks sleeping.
I think if Watherin is persuaded that he's sleeping, like he's not faking.
You don't see him on deck, yeah.
Okay. Watherin wants to go look for him and find him.
Okay, yeah, you do that. He's with the rest of his crew in their spot. He's
Clearly sleeping.
how closely do you want to like shake him or?
Yeah, I'll
He
go
looks
up
like
to
he's
him.
sleeping. He's buckled in as they usually are to sleep.
Yeah, I'll go up to him and just say, what's his name?
Aku.
Just go up closer and say, Aku. See if he's awake.
Oh yeah, there's no response.
Okay, great. I think Watherin's relatively persuaded and just wanted to make sure it wasn't some kind of weird magic-y thing. And so he goes back to the deck.
Okay. Gorio.
Goria's going to go talk to Trilo. Lad, you've proven yourself to be invaluable of late. I commend you. Now tell me, what was it you saw attacked one of my men?
Some sort of green hairy thing. I just got a glimpse.
Can I make a Arcana or Nature check to see if that trigger rings a bell for me or anything? Because
It would be a nature check.
Nature check.
But make it with disadvantage because you have so little to go on.
Okay. All right. So the lower of those two rolls was a 13. My Nature is a 2, so that's 15.
Yeah, you're not sure. Although seeing things out of the corner of your eye that vanish and stab people could be several different kinds of monster.
Okay. All right.
Harry is not a very, doesn't cut it down a whole lot.
Sure. Okay, that's fair. Well, good instincts, good reflexes. Well done, lad. He claps him on the back.
So, if Watherin has heard from Sarah, he's going to rouse people and get them off in pairs and search every inch of the ship, more or less the ship equivalent that makes sense of one of those search parties for like missing kids where you grab hands and sweep the whole thing and make sure nobody's like overlooking things.
Okay. Yeah. That's good to know how you're going about it. So you're actually going to join hands and walk over the whole surface of the deck?
If that's
It's
practical,
not
I don't
quite
really
possible
know.
to you could. You have enough people.
You can also take ropes and like swing ropes around like lassos or like a giant weed whacker and cover more area that way.
As though you're searching for something invisible.
As though we are trying to make sure that as though we're doing a literal sweep and we don't want to like miss something that's next to us in a shadow, hiding in a barrel,
Okay.
anything like that.
Yeah. Roll. I guess it's perception because you're looking for things. But everybody roll perception who's searching.
Am I searching or am I still cleaning scales?
No,
I think
you're
searching.
You're searching.
This is a high priority now.
15. Or 14. Sorry,
perception?
14.
Perception.
Oh, and I'm gonna bless us to do this. Let me click that.
7. With the bless. I bless you.
17 if I've got bless.
23
Woohoo!
for Watherin.
Under your leadership, Weatherin, they make an extremely thorough search, almost like spring cleaning every nook and cranny. You look in the place near the underneath of the floor of the below decks where
Gravy.
the lizard man Gravy used to hide sometimes.
Sure. Check
And
that place where I found those hidden crossbows.
yeah,
the whole
you look
thing.
in that place. Every hiding place you know of, you find a couple hiding places you didn't know of, and there's nothing. You find nothing.
I report that.
To Gorio.
Well, then I'm satisfied that it's no longer on board at the moment, but I suppose that means that every man should have a partner. It'll slow things down, but I'd rather not lose another man. We're down enough crew as it is. I'll not lose another. In the meantime, let's finish dealing with this dragon and get it off board quickly.
So he'd like to double up the crew on the dragon and get that done.
Instead of sailing.
Instead of resting, the men will instead of sailing, get it finished, get it dumped, just in case the dragon itself is what's attracting it, is
Okay.
Gorio's thought.
Hey, real quickly, Watherin has a divine sense, which is
Yes. Tell us
in the
about
presence
that.
of strong evil. Sorry, the presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor. Powerful good rings like heavy music in your ears, and as an action, you can open your awareness to detect the forces. Basically, this is
something you use in action to do.
I get 3 per one action.
3 per short rest or long rest?
Is there a
I'm not sure.
Is there a range on
Long rest. Yeah, there is something within the same radius. So it's right here, 60 feet.
Okay.
And or if it's behind total cover, it doesn't do it. But also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated.
Yeah, so if you're going to use that, tell me where you are when you set it off, because it's one action, so it's like just 1 6-second ping.
Like a burst, yeah.
Yeah, like a burst of, and it has to be within your line of sight.
It says, sorry, I haven't used it much. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be in my line of sight, but it can't be in total cover. So it's, it's like radar.
Right. Like radar. Good.
And I would say that how from fore to aft, how big is the ship?
Where are my books? Your books. I have a map of the Fujin. Here is a map of the Fujin.
Okay.
These should be, each square should be 10 feet.
Okay. So we're looking at about 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Wait, sorry. This says 5 feet?
Oh, 5 feet then. Sorry, never mind.
Just making sure. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. And how tall? How deep is the ship?
Oh, each of these floors is 10 feet tall.
Okay. So I'll get all the way down.
Yeah.
But I won't, or up, but I won't get all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to probably go once right here in front of the quarterdeck, which
Okay, so
kind of will go like that.
Standing on the deck in front of the quarterdeck.
Mm-hmm. And then once kind of symmetrically opposite that, next to this.
Next to the
stair.
That's the hatch down to the...
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then once in the center of the deck next to the hatch that leads down to the place where you stow stuff.
So I'll do that on top.
Below decks. The hold.
The hold. And then I'll do a third one in the center of in the deck, because it would be behind total cover if it was in the deck when I did it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, you don't detect anything.
Okay.
Those 3 magical radar bursts. You definitely, your paladin sense and setting this off doing this spell 3 times in a row, like, you don't see anything specifically, like the spell would allow you to see, but you definitely smell it.
Okay.
There was something deeply evil aboard this ship.
Does all
You can
of that
smell.
information start narrowing things down for an Arcana check or a Nature check?
I mean, any of you can make a nature check at any time, but probably not.
Wouldn't want to.
Probably not.
Well, Waithren's done everything he knows to do, so he's gonna be alert and do his job, kind of overseeing the dragon dressing with high alert, but also get it done quickly.
Okay. We're going to end up this session with a description of the next thing that happens. And this is going to be me talking just a little bit. But
Pull up your chairs.
it is night is falling on this day. Nice, very good. And as the sun is getting close to going down below the level of the cloudy sea, there are coming actually from the sun, from sort of a southwest direction. There are 3 winged shapes, not dragons. As they approach closer and closer, the 2 sailors who are up in the crow's nest on watch call out. Say, seem to be some Aarakocra. There, you got some Aarakocra approaching. And what you see is actually that there are 2 of them that are very powerful, muscular, large Aarakocra ladies, and they have sort of a harness system attached to them, by which there's a smaller, less powerful Aarakocra sort of hanging from this harness system. They're sort of helping him fly. They land on deck, and Kalurk goes up to greet them. They're wearing interesting clothes that you haven't actually seen very much, any of you. You may have glimpsed this in Air Mountain a few times, but you've never seen this attire before. It's not something you're familiar with, but they have the wings, the wing feathers of the 2 big ladies are dyed blue, or maybe they're naturally blue, but it looks artificial. It's a bright blue color, and they have these interesting sort of elegant clothes that are cyan blue in front, and they're a very light gray on the back. And looking at them, you sort of think, oh, you know, if they were flying with these colors, if they were flying underneath of clouds, they could put the gray side below them, and you would look up and see nothing. If they were flying against a clear blue sky, they could put the blue side down, and looking up at them, you'd see nothing. These are the kind of clothes that a secret Aarakocra traveling, hoping to be undetected high in the sky, would wear. The Aarakocra who's being escorted, the smaller one, sort of a scrawny, nerdy type of Aarakocra, with these big, athletic, jockish guards sort of escorting him. He is called Tuit Teat, and he's come to find the Fujin. So Captain Gorio is brought out to see him, and the harpooneers, Weatherin, and the mates, Barkis, Sarah, and Kyoko, gather to. Actually, Kyoko is overseeing some guard stuff, so she's not there. But he tells this story. He says that he is an acolyte of one of the Aarakocra high priests, a priest named Yellow Eyes is his name. And he says that 2 days ago there were some black dragons that had been harrying Air Mountain's outlying farms for years. These black dragons had been striking Aarakocra, taking things, setting things on, not setting things on fire, but blasting things with acid, and then leaving. Just doing damage, nothing productive, and then just flying away. And the Aarakocra hadn't been able to find these dragons to slay them. It seems as though the ones that you fought with are some of these, although the ones that they've been fighting also include larger black dragons. But 2 days ago, those attacks stopped. Hard to say. There have been gaps of that long before, but just the presence of evil and the various monsters around the Aarakocra seem to have withdrawn. So Yellow Eyes was asked by the Queen of the Aarakocra to scry out the reason for the change. What are the monsters doing? For although this pause seems to have given them time to rebuild, to regroup, to get some help to people, to build up their resources, it did seem to bode ill. I shouldn't say it was 2 days ago. It was weeks ago.
By the way, Goryo has handed the ship's log to Sarah and has asked, or Barkis as the first mate, and has asked Barkis to chronicle all this conversation in the ship's log. Keep going.
Okay. Yellow Eyes, in his scrying, found that one of their shrines to Oberon, the one at Nebulaster's Perch, which had recently been mysteriously, somehow unknown to him, it had been restored and purified so that he was able to be in contact with it again spiritually. But that shrine at that moment was lost, or a little bit after.
A little bit after being purified.
No, a little bit after the monsters suddenly withdrew.
Oh, okay.
So the monsters withdraw, and a little while later the queen asks, can you scry out what's happening? While scrying out what's happening, it's like this one sort of focal point of Oberonian spiritual energy that's out there that they've established suddenly winks out of existence. Not desecrated, not broken or chipped, but gone. He fears that some great disaster has befallen the giants. So this messenger of the priestly class of the Aarakocra tells you it's time for an assault on Karen. Karen's forces are massing. They're doing something to the north. While Karen battles Palor, Oberon can perhaps outflank her?
Don't forget Paul.
Maybe if the goddess's power can be broken in the cloudy sea. But really what needs to happen is that Yellow Eyes needs to see Weatherin. And this messenger turns from Goryo to Weatherin and says, can you come to Air Mountain? And he says to the Fujin and to Goryo, we need help. Can you come to Air Mountain?
We're a vessel of commerce, but we're a vessel of justice as well. We sail to Air Mountain to do what needs to be done. We'll conduct whatever business in the best interest of the Fujin can be done in the meantime. Won't be a loss. Set sail for Air Mountain, boys.
Very well. With that, we will draw to a close this episode of Starfall Collective. That's where we're going to stop for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. We are going to hopefully maybe have another special episode this Saturday.
A very special episode.
A very special episode.
Waithering gets trapped in a refrigerator.
Probably.
Are you sure it wasn't Trilo?
Maybe it's Trilo.
So tune in for that. I guess maybe I'll blast it out on Instagram or something. But that is all for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Tune in that time, and also definitely the same time next week for another exciting episode. And remember,